Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP podcast on this, I think, what is it, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, January 19th, 2022. Sorry, just working midnights. I'm all mixed up with my days and stuff. But anyways, I'm looking forward to my guest tonight. Her name is Taryn from accounting. She is a female pro wrestler with Real Canadian Wrestling and Nation Extreme Wrestling. So I'm looking forward to speaking to my guest tonight about her career as a pro wrestler and behind the scenes of it as well. So if you guys can just give me a minute or two. Again, yet tonight is season 2, episode 51. And again, I want to say thank you to my friend Robert B for creating my opening video on here as well. I think he did a great job. So just give me 1 second and I'm going to bring on Taryn from accounting, a pro wrestler out in Alberta in British Columbia. Good evening, Taryn. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm a little tired, but otherwise okay. Hey, it's probably colder here than out in Edmonton tonight. Minus 26 with the wind chill tonight.
Oh, we got you beat. We're probably like minus 30 right now.
Okay. Okay, so people here can't handle it. Like we used to have bad winters in Ontario in the 70s and 80s, but the last 15, 20 years it's kind of been mild. And then when we do get snow and actual cold weather, people don't know how to handle it.
I know. So I spend a lot of time in Vancouver and I find that's definitely the case. They'll get like a dusting and everything's shut down.
Yeah, I guess they've had a lot of snow and cold temps this winter so far.
Yeah, way colder than usual.
Definitely. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, but other than that, I'm really good.
Yes. Now, speaking of that, I haven't had a cold since March 2020, and when I did have it, it's when the COVID was all breaking out. So my company sent me home and thought I had COVID, and I ended up having to stay off for 2 weeks from a cold. So I've been very lucky, almost 2 years without a cold now.
You know what? I was lucky. This was my first time. It was actually, not, I think it was, I had COVID, but it was my first, I had gone this entire time. So I'm just getting dog treats because you can hear my dog.
What kind of dog is it? What kind of dog?
An asshole. But no, he's a cockapoo.
Cockapoo, eh?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just a baby too. So he's like, just wants my attention.
Understandable. Dogs are number one as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather spend more time with pets than people.
Oh man, well, when I was in quarantine here, he was like my savior. It was just so nice to have something around and
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. How's before you got a cold, how is the wrestling going? Like
Awesome.
what was your last card and event that you did?
I guess the last show I did would have been not this past weekend, but the weekend before in I guess the last show was in Edmonton here against was a tag against Michael Richard Blaze and Stephen Crow.
Okay. That's cool. I actually went to my first wrestling card in 30 years in Guelph. That's where I live, just outside of Toronto. Pro Wrestling 365, and it was really good. It was a really good card, and there were some guys like Mike Bailey or Speedball Bailey. I don't know if you've heard of him, and Addy Stars, and it was really good. It was a really good card, and I really enjoyed it. And hopefully, when things get better here in Ontario, I'll be able to go to some more independent wrestling cards. And what I liked about it was some of the intergender matches, they were really well done. And the female wrestlers held their own against the male wrestlers.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad to hear that because I feel like at the end of the day, wrestling is just wrestling. And like, as long as it's done and it makes sense, like, I don't see why anybody wouldn't be impressed by intergender wrestling match, just as they would, two guys or two girls.
Well, yeah, and people just to realize too, people being a pro wrestler, from what I see, is you have to be in great shape. You have to have good cardio, and you're also a combination of an athlete and an actor as well, because you have to have the match down by pat, like before you go on with either a male or female opponent as well.
I mean, yeah, typically that's the way it works. I, just recently had a really cool match with my trainer who's like always trying to push me, right? Michael Richard Blaze. And, kind of, what do you want to do? And I don't know, let's just go out there and do it. Let's just like call it on the fly. And it was so much fun. So,
Okay. And I saw one of your matches. I like your intro music, 9 to 5 by Darrell E. Parton. I think that's from like 1981 or 82. So that's a classic song there. How did you come up with that?
um, I mean, it just kind of made sense. It fits my gimmick. It fits my, thinking in everyday life, like I definitely try to find that balance between like work and having fun. So it just kind of suit Taryn from accounting. Like I'm working 9 to 5, but once I get out of there, you know, it's a different ball game. We're here to play and we're here to win.
So, okay. Before we get to some questions, can I just show you my audience a bit of your match with Zoe Sager?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and maybe you just can give me a little commentating on this, or just analyze. I saw the match and it was really well done and stuff as well. So just give me
Okay.
1 second and I'll put it on right now. 1 second. I just turned down the volume that way. If you could just talk to me about how this match went, and had you worked with this Zoe before? Was this your first ever match with her?
No, I had had a few matches with her before. And I love wrestling Zoe, obviously. We train at the same place, Top Talent. So we definitely know each other pretty well. So that's a big advantage, but at the same time, like I love wrestling her because when we're in there, like we still never know what's going to happen. We don't know like how people are going to react. So we're always trying to like different things. And oh God, that gear was before I got it fixed.
How long does it
um,
take? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go for it.
How long does it take to develop chemistry with an opponent?
I think it depends because like, like I said, me and her, we've got chemistry because we work together, but I've worked with other people and then zero chemistry. And I've worked with others where the chemistry was instant, like we were on the same page, from the second we met each other. And so I think it just depends on the person. It depends on like what you're going for, what kind of match you want to have, um, what kind of wrestlers you are, like different styles. But yeah, so I mean, chemistry can come from anywhere, I think.
Okay. And before a match, how long do you guys take? Like, do you guys talk? You and your opponent talk for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or is it just usually 5, 10 minutes or whatever? How you want the match to go?
I mean, like I said, it totally depends. Like, depends on who you're wrestling, how well you know each other, how you're feeling about the show. Yeah, I mean, ideally, you just go out there and kick the shit out of each other, and best person wins.
Okay, I was gonna say, and I guess your match, how long it is depends on I guess the promoter. Does they have the say of like if it's going to be a 6 minute match or a 15 minute match?
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Okay, and what's the longest match you've done so far, time wise?
I think the longest match I've had was like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Um, yeah, with heavy metal, it was like a street fight, which I did not agree to, but sometimes you don't get a choice. And Yeah, it ended up being honestly one of my favorite matches I've had, one of the most challenging. Um, and it did not feel like 45 minutes. We just kind of had a really good brawl, a really good fight. Neither of us were giving up. So,
Okay, and I was gonna say you got to really pace yourself the longer the matches too with your cardio, right?
oh, yeah, like I've got,
Yeah,
especially at this point, I've got zero cardio.
I was gonna
So,
say.
the more I can breathe, the better.
Have you done any other matches, different type of matches as well?
Yeah, I've done it. I mean, nothing too crazy, but I've done like a 5-man match. I've done some, triple threats, tags, nothing like a street
Yeah.
fight before or anything, but
Yeah, because I had another wrestler on a couple of weeks ago, and they did a Lego match, and I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Oh, we did a Lego match," and I'm like, "Oh, that must have been painful."
yeah, I can't imagine. I think the first person I saw do a match with Legos was MRB, and I couldn't watch. Like it made my stomach turn. Tax, okay, but Lego, like we've all stepped on Lego, obviously. It's sick.
Wow. And then the one I think of is Mick Foley with all the matches he did.
Yeah, he was, I mean, he was one of the greatest at, hardcore matches.
Now, how hard? Now, in the last year and a half with this pandemic, have you guys been shut down, or have you guys been able to still continue to wrestle during the pandemic?
It totally depends on the company and like the province that you're wrestling in because of the different restrictions and everything. There's definitely been a few shows that I've really been looking forward to that have been postponed or canceled. Um, and but RCW, our weekly shows, because of the way everybody needs to be vaccinated, masked, lower capacity. All the wrestlers need to be vaccinated. We've managed to continue on with the restrictions because there's like exemption programs and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, luckily we've been able to carry on with our CW.
And most of your matches are in Alberta and out in British Columbia. Do you ever come to Ontario as well?
No, I haven't been out there yet.
Okay, well, hopefully one day you'll be able to.
I know, I would love that.
If you do, let me know and I'll try my best to come. Because, like I said, I lost interest in wrestling for about 10, 12 years, and then it's kind of rekindled by going to this card here in Guelph at the end of November. And it's really nice to see real wrestling again.
I know, isn't it good? Like kind of the same. Like I gotten out of wrestling for a really long time and then I started going to local shows
Hmm.
and it just kind of, yeah, like I love wrestling and I love watching wrestling. That's one thing I miss the most now that I am in all these shows. Like I miss going to watch. I miss being a fan.
Oh, and then also one of my favorites who was out of wrestling for 7 years, CM Punk came back to AEW. So that's kind of got me back into it is watching AEW because they're focusing on good wrestling and having a guy like CM Punk who's not just a great wrestler, but he's also good on the mic as well. It makes you want to watch it again.
Yeah, totally. I love seeing a good comeback like that, It's not I don't know. This one for sure to me didn't seem like desperate or anything. I think it's pretty well done so far.
No,
It's
and
kind of hard to watch this match. It wasn't that long ago, but I just feel like we've been wrestling so much since this match. Like I watch it now and I'm like, oh gosh, why did I do that? It's good though. It's good for me to watch and be able to critique myself.
yeah, I think this match was just over 14 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it was just yeah. So I guess one thing you got to do in the ring too is also make sure you and your opponent pace yourselves too, so you guys don't run out of breath or anything in there as well.
Oh, totally. I don't think that happens to Zoe, but she's very young and fit.
And I
I'm
was
just
gonna
gonna.
say, yeah,
I'm here. I'm here.
No worries. Now, do you have obviously we talked about your ring intro, the 9 to 5 song. Now here you're wearing black and pink. Is that sort of to honor Bret Hart, or is that just the colors that you just picked for that night?
Yeah, it's just I like the colors. It wasn't like an homage or anything to anybody. It's just I liked it.
Now,
But I mean,
how many wrestling outfits do you have, or general? How did that work?
I just got some new gear actually. I'm trying it out. Different colors, different look. Same stupid patch on the back though.
Okay.
You can't see it, but it's an upside down calculator that says boobs, like you would
Oh,
make when you were a kid.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's only a couple minutes left in this match, but I was gonna say, how often do you wrestle? Like, how does this work with the wrestling industry?
I'm pretty busy. I wrestle every weekend pretty much, unless I have like, a family obligation or something. But I wrestle every weekend. If I wanted to, I could wrestle a couple nights a weekend, but it's just hard with my day job and the traveling. But yeah, I'm very busy wrestling every weekend.
How long does it take you to recover from a match? Like, obviously, you get probably bumps and bruises. Does it take a couple days after, or are you pretty good after them?
I feel like I'm kind of calloused up at this point. So, depending on the match, like you're always a little bit sore, a little bit hurt, hopefully. I feel like that means you put on a good show and you were really trying. Nobody wants to get injured, but wrestling hurts, you know.
Well, yeah,
So,
people don't realize that too. That okay, even with the matches being scripted or whatever, you people can get hurt in this industry if you don't do it right. So one of the things I've been told is you want to always make sure you protect yourself and your opponent as well.
and totally, yeah. Like, and that's like a big part of training is just learning how to fall, how to bump. Like, if something goes wrong, how can you roll out of it so that you're not injured? Um, yeah, I'm a big fan of training. I train as much as I can, um, just for that purpose, just so that you're ready when something happens. It's not just about learning moves and learning what to do, but it's learning about how to do things safely.
And that one move was the Widow's Peak, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And you got that from I guess Victoria, I think. Victoria.
yeah.
Yes. That's one of my favorite moves.
I'm sorry. I gotta put him outside. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Yeah,
Because
no
Zoe
worries.
just kicked my ass anyways.
Yeah,
So
no problem. I'll keep going on. No worries.
actually, I'm just gonna get a spoon and peanut butter. That usually helps him shut up.
No worries. No worries.
He's still just a puppy, so I just do this.
No, I understand completely one bit. I've had other guests that had dogs on too, so absolutely no
Annoying.
worries. No worries at all. Okay. And yeah, like I said, I love dogs and stuff like that. So, but definitely this was a good match with Zoe. So thank you for letting me share. This clip was courtesy of Backbreaker Media. So
Yeah.
our yeah, so and that's Zoe's channel. So yeah, that was definitely a good match to show and stuff like that. Now I was going to ask you before I get into questions, um, do you have any submission holds, or you just generally just try to go for the pins and stuff like that in most of your matches?
Yeah, just generally go for the pins. I'll work on some submissions eventually, but I'm not very coordinated. I always forget how to do them. If
Okay,
I'm
all right,
being honest.
okay, and I'm going to just get to some questions now. Can you just tell my audience just a little bit about yourself and when you decide to pursue a career as a pro wrestler?
Yeah, sure. Started wrestling pretty late in my life. I'm 36 now, so I started, I think, when I was like 33, 32, 33. And yeah, so it was just kind of like not really a whim. It's something I wanted to do for a while, but just never kind of pushed myself, wasn't really convinced that it was something I could do. And then I found out that I could do it. Anybody could do it. And I went to a show, an RCW show with some friends, and I was like, look at these people. Like, they're normal, regular people. Like, I can do this too. And so I started training. And, as much as I call them regular, ordinary people, myself included, like, I think that's not true anymore. Like, anybody who is like willing to step into the ring in front of a crowd and have a match and learn how to wrestle, learn something new, and, actually dedicate their time to it so that they're doing it properly and having good matches and keeping people safe. And like, that's not a regular, ordinary thing to me
No.
anymore. So, like, it was good to see people do it. And I convinced myself that I could do it. And so when I started training, I was training 5, 6 days a week. And I realized, like, that it's hard shit. But I loved it. It was kind of like the only hard thing I've ever done. And
And
so, like, you kind of get high off of that. You get high off of like trying something different and trying something new, and like something you never thought that you could do, and something that not everybody can do. Because, like, in my short time of training, I've seen so many people come in, say they want to be a wrestler, come to training for 2 weeks, and then you never see them again. So it's a hard thing to do. And anybody who like sticks it out, I think, is not a regular, ordinary person. Like, they're superheroes, like doing something that's really badass.
yeah, and my situation's a little different than yours, but it took me almost 47 years to find out what I wanted to do. And I one night I got thrown in as a camera operator. Never done broadcasting in my life or operated a camera. And the producer's like, "I'll show you what to do." And they liked my work, and they actually paid me. And then they told me to get involved with Rogers TV, and
Okay.
they accepted me as a camera operator. And I had never done camera work before. I was scared shitless, pardon my language. And but you know what? It was hard work doing it, but I loved it. And even though it is hard work being a camera operator and stuff like that, it's something I really enjoyed doing. And then it led to me creating my podcast. And everybody thinks too, doing a podcast is easy, and that it's not. Even though I'm doing it at home, you have to produce your shows, you have to book guests, you have to do with guests sometimes canceling on it, canceling or rescheduling at the last minute, and
Yeah.
sometimes technical difficulties happen. So my scenario is a little different than what yours is, but I can relate. And I'm now 49, but I'm willing to. I really want to switch careers into radio, and it's never too late.
That's so awesome. I love hearing that because, like, there's so many times where I'm like, am I too old to do this? Am I too old to do that? So it's like super awesome to hear that, like, people are just going for what they want, because it's so cliche to say like life is short and you only have one, but like it's so true at the same time. Like, blink of an eye, your your opportunity is over, or you know what I mean? Like, so just like get after what you want.
Yeah, so right now I'm doing, like I said, with Rogers TV camera work, and then doing my podcast. And I'm just hoping somebody out there will eventually give me an opportunity in radio. And I just try to keep grinding away. And anything worthwhile in life, you want to do in life, career wise, it is hard work. And to me, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you.
So, and I like hearing your stories too. It's, like I said, it's never too late to switch. I've had one guy on that switched careers when he was 66.
Yeah, that's so
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, his name's Marty Rossi. He's a comedian out in California. He switched careers at 66, and he's still a comedian this day at 82.
Oh, no way. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I've been really lucky this past 2 years almost to have great guests on like yourself and him, and every guest that comes on has a story too as well, and I learned something too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, if you
Okay.
like talking to people and you like meeting new people, I think podcasting's super cool.
Definitely, and like I said, I like learning about the wrestling industry behind the scenes as well, and like I said, so I try to get as many guests. I love sports and all that, but I try to get guests from other professions as well. So
Oh yeah, like what?
I've had comedians on here, some actors on here. I've got a news anchor from Denver coming on tomorrow night. So I've been really lucky.
Neat.
Yes. So, but like I said, people don't realize how much work it is. It is just booking in guests, and then I have to produce my shows like what I generally want to talk about. And one thing I've learned too, Taryn as well, is to ad lib too. Because when I first started, I did everything scripted. But one
Yeah.
of the guys from the Toronto Raptors, Eric Smith, told me that just talk to your guests like you're talking to them at an arena or a stadium or outside or whatever, and it makes for better conversation.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely easier to talk to somebody when it's like a conversation.
So and I try to build a rapport and trust with my guests. So I try to be really flexible with their schedule. And if something happens where they can't come on, I just like, okay, we'll reschedule or whatever. I just try to work
Mhm.
with the guests as best as I can.
Yeah, that's good.
So, okay. Next question I had to ask you: where did you attend school, and did you have any mentors when you were starting out in the wrestling industry?
Um, where did I attend like wrestling school?
Yeah, wrestling
Okay.
school. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I started off at Monster Pro Wrestling. I was there for a short amount of time, maybe 4 or 5 months. And then I moved over to train with Michael Richard Blaze. He was at Force Pro Wrestling at the time. And so it was just kind of a no-brainer. So I would say he's definitely my mentor for sure. He like will talk me through like every aspect of the business from like how to put together a match, training to like how to talk to promoters and how to like I mean everybody learns how to act in like a locker room, but like, respecting other wrestlers and we just talk about wrestling, we talk about not wrestling and like just he's given me a lot of like really good feedback and a lot of good information and yeah, he's been my mentor, I would say. I think also my brother-in-law and my sister are definitely like big up there on people who I talk to about wrestling. They're both wrestlers, they're promoters. So, um, they obviously help me out a ton and they give me tons of information. And, my sister's like, we're very opposite. She's like, very like, no bullshit, no mess. Like, I'm the head bee in charge, and I'm just kind of more like, hey guys, I'm just here to hang. So she definitely like helps me like don't take shit from people, be confident and like, know your worth. And so yeah, I guess those three people would be my mentors.
Okay, and this one I had to ask. I didn't write this question down, but this one I had to ask. What do you prefer? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Being a baby face, or do you prefer being a heel?
You know what? I'm a baddie at heart. I've done it all, definitely, but I just kind of realized like at first I kind of thought, oh, like I want people to like me. Like, why don't they like me? So then I was like, I tried really hard and I became a baby face and I was like a really good baby face and I finally got people to love me. And then I kind of realized like, nah, never mind. I actually don't care. I think these people are dumb. Not actually, but you know what I mean? Like, I have like more important things to do than like worry about if people like me or not. And like, I feel much better being able to like speak my mind. Like, if I think you're dumb, I want to be able to call you dumb. Like, I'm not your friend. I'm here to do a job. I'm a wrestler.
Yeah, because I've heard
So,
that too. It's more fun to play the heel than the baby face.
yeah, for sure. And, like, I really, in a more like behind the scenes like I really like being a good heel, you know what I mean, because I think it's super important to the match and super important to the story and it's really important for the baby face to be a good heel because they cannot do their job if you're not getting the crowd to hate you. You know what I mean? They're not going to get behind that baby face if they like you a little bit, they have no reason for that for this baby face. They have no reason to want them to win. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I've been like working on is like, how do I get sympathy for that person? Like, I want them to hate me, sure, but I want them to love them. And like, as much as it's their job, like it's my job as well. So like, I like the story aspect of it. And it's just like a bit more challenging.
It's also like a soap opera too. It's storytelling and
Mhm.
it's also acting too. So it's not just the athletic part of it. It's also your memory, like memorizing stuff, and you're an actress as well.
Yeah, for sure, which was like definitely and still kind of is like the hardest part for me. But I've had some matches with some people that I was really able to calm down in the match and like really see the match from like the inside looking out. Whereas like before I was just kind of like, okay, here we are, let's get these moves done. So like that definitely helped to like realize that like how to feed in on the with the crowd and work with them.
I was gonna say, what's do you ever get nervous before going on before a crowd, or are you kind of just zoned in what you're trying to do and you don't worry about the crowd?
I don't worry about the crowd so much, but I still get nervous. Like, I get nervous over a lot of things. Like, I want to have a good match. I don't want to mess up. I want to make the other person happy. I want to make the crowd happy. I want to make myself happy and my trainers, and I want everybody to be safe. So, I'm nervous about that, but I've definitely learned that like if I don't have the best match, like I'm okay. Like I'll figure out how to make it better next time. So I'm not so much nervous now as I used to be, but I mean, it's still nerve wracking. You're still going out there in front of a bunch of people in like a tiny outfit and doing crazy things.
And self confidence is really important too in the wrestling industry as well.
Definitely. And I wish I would have gotten into wrestling a lot sooner in my life because I feel like I'm more confident now. I'm stronger. I'm like a better person. Um, I have, I'm not more friends, but I've got like a different circle of friends. Like, I don't know, I missed out on a lot of really fun years, but
But you know what? Like I said, what I'm trying to do and what you're doing is like it's never too late. It's
totally.
never too late. So that's why I like hearing your story as well, and other people's stories on here too, because it gives me hope for myself as well. Because I'm trying to fight the odds of, hey, what's this 49-year-old guy trying to do? But everybody that's come on my podcast, all my guests have been really supportive, and it just keeps me motivated to keep doing a better job every podcast as well.
Oh, for sure. And the way I look at, I don't like, I'm not aiming for the WWE. Like, by the time I would even be good at, they don't want a 40 something, like a saggy 40 something. I shouldn't say that. That's not true at all. But you know what I mean? Like, that's not my goal. That's not my end goal. But the more I'm wrestling, the more I'm like finding pleasure in all these challenges of like, you know, moving up, moving on, being, you know, better, becoming a better wrestler. Like it's fun to challenge yourself like no matter when.
Absolutely. And that leads to my next question, Taryn. Did you have any male or female wrestlers when you were growing up that sort of influenced you when you were starting up in the wrestling industry?
Um like was I a fan of any?
Yeah, like the WWE, WCW, or any of that.
I mean, I growing up I was the biggest Stone Cold fan. Like I mean, I still am. He's so awesome, but um yeah, growing up I was like a huge fan of his. And I've done like an imitation match where I got to be him, and it was super fun. Um, did it influence me to like start wrestling? No,
Okay.
but like he definitely influences kind of who I want to be as a wrestler now, just because like I appreciate his style and like with my like limitations that I put on myself. Um, like I'm not like a flippy high flyer. I'm gonna bounce, bounce. do all this like flashy stuff, but I want to like, I have a couple hard-hitting moves that like, can be devastating, and I want them to look good and sharp and just be like aggressive and strong. Like that's what I'm looking for. Is like I want to be a strong wrestler, and I think that's what he is.
I was gonna
With
say,
like a little bit of humor. I love his humor, and like
oh,
I definitely am an idiot. Obviously, my wrestling name is Taryn from accounting. So,
I like that. Hey, there used to be a tag team in the WWE or WWF in the '90s called the IRS.
yeah.
Ted DiBiase, the Million Dollar Man, and his partner was IRS, and they were my favorite tag team.
Hmm.
So I think what his name, Mike Rotundo, I think it was his name, and then he became the IRS gimmick, and I thought it was great too. And it's important to have a character that fits your personality in that.
Yeah. Because starting out, for sure, they were like, oh, female wrestler, let's be, you know, voluptuous Veronica and shit like that. And like, that's not me.
I think female wrestling has come a long ways, and even in the last 10 years. To be honest,
I mean, yeah,
I enjoy the
100%.
yeah, I enjoy the female wrestling as much as the male wrestling. I was gonna say that it's gonna lead you to my next question. Let's see, what was your you remember your first wrestling match, and which opponent was it against?
Yeah, the first match I had was four-way with three girls from Monster Pro Wrestling, Phoenix and Soraya Sawyer. I think that was her last match she had there. And a girl named Sexy Samantha. And yeah, it was a four-way. It was wild. I had like all of my friends there. They were so amazing cheering me on. It was probably like the best feeling in the world. Horrible match. Should I have done it? No. Was I ready? No. But it was so fun. I think like that was the bug.
And now, after each match, do you go back and critique it and just say, "Hey, this is what I did okay, what I could do better next time," or you just kind of move on from each match?
Yeah, not really, especially not right after. Um, we film each other's matches and sometimes we'll watch them together. But I definitely often like to get MRB to watch my matches back and critique them for me. Or I'll send them sometimes to my brother-in-law and sister so he can give me some feedback and stuff because like I'm still learning. I'm not the perfect wrestler yet, so all the feedback I can get is great. Or sometimes, like if I'm wrestling more veteran people, I always ask for their feedback after the match, like what do they think I can work on or what went well. So, I mean, so sometimes I look for feedback right away.
That's really important, and I try to do that even with my podcast too, to get feedback from my guests and just say, hey, well, what you thought went well, or what I should work on improving for the next time, because that's what I'm trying to do, is continue to keep learning and to keep improving every day.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, I wanted to ask you this: your finishing maneuver. Do you have a finishing maneuver that you like to use on most of your matches, and and what's the name of it?
I like the Widow's Peak is usually was my go-to. I started doing this one pin, but I honestly I don't even know the name of it. So you have to watch some of my more
More
newer
matches.
matches for that. But yeah, I generally stick to either the Widow's Peak, a Spine Buster. Yeah.
Okay. And your style, I guess, I guess you're bit of a brawler type style, or do you like to do a little bit of wrestling, like some moves like Kurt Angle and stuff like that?
I try to be as like diverse as possible. Like um in training, we train so hard and like we do lots of like we learn lots of like chain and we chain together a lot. So I definitely like to add like that wrestling, like shoot style in there as well. Um, and like fancier moves, maybe not so much, but maybe, I don't know. It depends what you think is fancy. Like when I watch wrestling, some wrestlers like they're doing stuff I can't do. Like I could never, maybe I could, but like, you know, giant flips and stuff like that. But, I do some bigger moves that I think are cool. I try to be different. I try to be unique. I always try to find things that like, not that people aren't doing, but just kind of put your own twist on it or kind of silly things using the ropes and like, just trying to like get out of things in different ways. So I try to be creative, but I'm also definitely not afraid to punch anybody square in the face.
What about the aerial tactics? Are you comfortable going up the middle rope or the top rope from that too?
Yeah, I do some moves from there for
Yeah.
sure. Depending on who's down there, it's like I'll go, but I don't know how good it's gonna feel on either of us.
Okay.
But yeah.
And I just got a couple. Are you still good for a few more minutes?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay. This one I wanted to ask you: how did you end up at Nation Extreme Wrestling and Real Canadian Wrestling? And you already answered the last part of my question about your intro theme song.
Well, with RCW, they're local, so um, it's just and it's the only local company really running right now. Besides, I think MPW is still running shows, but so yeah, like they were gracious enough to take a bunch of us who lost kind of our shows with other companies over COVID. So they were really great by taking us in. And then with NEW, I was approached by Rob Fay. Him and a fella named Chris run it. And I think they saw me at a Lucha Libre show in Vancouver that I did over the summer. And, I have been doing like a few shows and a few spots out in Vancouver and have a little bit of like a relationship with some of the wrestlers out there. Um, so, like that's a big part of it is just like who you know. And so, yeah, I think Rob just saw me at the Lucha show. I was wrestling one of the new guys. And so he just said, we'd love to have you. And yeah,
And sometimes it's being in at the right place at the right time as well.
100%, 100%.
And connections too. And that's kind of sort of how I led with me with Rogers TV and then doing a podcast. Just this happened and then this person, and it's, yeah, so a little bit of luck too and timing and all that as well.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like luck and timing was definitely on my side for a lot of different opportunities I've had, but I don't take anything away from myself. I work really, really hard. And I try my best to be professional and make good relationships with other people, not to get anything out of it, but it just makes wrestling more fun, you know?
Definitely. Have you done any matches in the States yet, or is it just a lot of it been in British Columbia and Alberta so far?
Yeah, pretty much, especially with COVID has really like closed a lot of things for, Canadian wrestlers.
So, okay, and that leads to my next question. What is a normal day for a pro wrestler on the day of a wrestling card in an event?
Um, it really depends. We used to train. We used to train before we'd go to like not hard or anything, but we were pretty hardcore about training. um, I mean, now it depends. If I had a show on like Friday night, I'm probably sleeping all day because we wouldn't have gotten home till like 3 or 4 in the morning. Um, but yeah, just chilling at home, relaxing, not really doing anything too crazy, not eating like a ton of food, maybe a bit of breakfast, and then go set up the ring, have fun with your friends, laugh, work on some things if you need to before the match, and then go sit in the back and get dressed until
And
your match is up.
I was gonna say, and nutrition is really important, probably on that day of a match as well.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed like if I eat really shitty, you can definitely tell a difference. Or, if I drink too many energy drinks or something beforehand, I get kind of like scattered and jittery. So, yeah, it's all like whatever. I know some people who can just like down those 5-hour energies and they're good to go.
Yeah, I know a guy that does it, and I stay away from them because for me they're no good, but for some people they work. So
I
um,
know.
definitely, and that leads to my next question here. Do you have any rituals before a match that you like to do or have?
Not really. What?
Okay,
I'm just trying to think. No, I try to tune everybody out and I just kind of like run through everything in my head and but no, no rituals. Like honestly, when I'm wrestling in Alberta, like I'm wrestling with my best friends. So like we just chill and talk and like laugh. We just laugh the entire time and yeah. So that's kind of my ritual is just like sitting with my friends and laughing. I
okay.
guess like right before going out, I'm kind of like head down, a little bit of a walk back and forth, but I just try to enjoy it as much as I can,
Do you have
not
any?
take it too seriously.
Okay. Do you have any favorite music you like to listen to on a day specifically before you're wrestling, just to get you into a mood? I guess a good mood.
No, not specifically,
No.
actually.
Okay, I just wanted to ask that. And um, do you have any other favorite hobbies that you like to do as well?
Not so much anymore. I think reality TV, like Give Me 90 Day Fiance, Life After Lockup. I'm
Okay,
so busy. Like I feel like between like wrestling all the time and work and shows and my dog, like my hobby is just to like relax.
there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So,
Yeah.
and this is gonna lead to my last question. I think you've already answered some of it. Your favorite style of wrestling, high tempo paced or more methodically? You've already answered about the kind of the brawler technical question.
Yeah, like honestly, I love it all. I think like there's a need and room for all kind of wrestling out there. Like I do love watching those like high flying, bouncy like wrestlers. Like I think that stuff is so cool. The things that they can do with their bodies and just like I love it. I love watching wrestling like that. But like I also love watching wrestlers who can go out there and do the least and still have like a really banging match. Like they told a great story. Everybody was into it, and so I think there's room for all kind of wrestling out there. And like, yeah, comedy wrestling, love it, want to do it, want to be it. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
This one.
yeah, some of my favorite wrestlers are Bret Hart, Kurt Angle. I was a fan of Hogan too. Hogan and the Warrior. They weren't really technical wrestlers, more brawlers, but the great storytellers. And but to me, Bret Hart is still him and Kurt Angle are to me are the two best technical wrestlers I've ever seen. Yeah, I guess Ric
Hmm.
Flair too, but I still put Bret one and then Kurt Angle number two.
Okay. Nice.
And Kurt Angle could play the baby face perfectly and the heel perfectly too. And I think that's important too. Some of these guys, they play one great and the other one not so great, but the really good ones can play them both. Even Brett was a heel too before he became a baby face.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So okay, and let's see. We're gonna wrap this up shortly. What are some of your favorite wrestling moves? And obviously, you answered my other questions. You don't use submission moves at all, but do you like using the Widow's Peak from Victoria?
Hmm. Other favorite wrestling moves. Like I said, I like messing around at training and I like just kind of rolling around and ending up in something and being like, is this something? Like, what could I do with this? Or yeah, and just like kind of moving my body around and be like, could I do this? Or could this happen? And usually it's like, yeah, so and so does that. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I gotta watch more wrestling, that's for sure. But I like to like use the ring. I like to like use ropes to get out of things or um yeah,
Okay,
I like creativity,
okay, that's
not
good.
just like watching something and being like, I want to do that. Sometimes I do that for sure, but like I like trying different things.
Well, yeah, you when you do that, you open yourself up to more more possibility for moves for yourself and find out what you like and what you don't really like. And it's good to try new things too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Okay, and my last question, um, any advice for those who are watching or listening tonight who might be looking to pursue a career as a pro wrestling or just get into the wrestling industry? And where can my audience find you on social media? And what's approximately you're going to be your next match and next wrestling card with Nation Extreme Wrestling or Royal Canadian Wrestling?
Okay, so advice for those looking to pursue, just do it. Like, Nike, just do it. Like, that was one thing holding me back would have always been just this is something I want to do, but then not actually doing it. But if it is something you want to do, like absolutely try it and see if it's for you. Because for me, it was like life changing and just the best decision I ever made. Um, but also find a really good school. Like start out wherever, see if you like it, find the bug, but like finding a really good school, I think is like really, really important because you want to find a place that's going to like train you properly and, not just make you do like a million bumps and then that's kind of it, like they're going to like train you how to put together a match and train you like what are the good things, like, what are the important parts of a match and they're going to like be with you at the times when like you're like, okay, can you watch this match? And anyways, I could go on and on and on, but just like find a really good school where people are like supportive and want to see you succeed. Um, I think is really important.
Okay.
And where can my audience find me? I'm on Instagram, Taryn_A_K, and on Twitter, TFA Wrestling. And my next match, I have a match against Zoe Sager. She's just coming back from an injury. So I don't know. She thinks she deserves something now, I guess. And so I have a match against her with RCW at the Norwood Legion on Sunday. And then on February 25th, I'm with NEW in Vancouver.
Okay. All right. Well, Taryn, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on live with CDP podcast. I will
Oh, thanks for
definitely
having me.
I'll definitely check out more of your matches on YouTube. That's the great thing about this technology nowadays.
Yeah, and I got
Uh,
to post more. You just remind me. I got to post more. It's so hard, social media.
oh yes, it's like a full-time job itself because I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter,
Oh,
Instagram, LinkedIn. It's
I
so
know.
many. It's time consuming as well.
And I only just got on Twitter. Like I was getting in shit from everybody. Like, Tim, you got to get on Twitter. It's where it's
Yeah,
at. And I was like, guys, I got Facebook. I'm good.
yeah.
It turns out like Facebook is over, I guess. So I'm on
I
Twitter now. And actually, I'm really good tweeter. I'm good at Twitter.
Yes, and I even joined TikTok, but I use TikTok just to promote my podcast. But
I'm
like I said,
smart.
it's yeah, it's a good tool and stuff like that. It's just you're right. There's so many of these social media sites. You should just pick what you're more comfortable with, and that. And I'm hoping to have a website up as well as at some point as well. So, but I was gonna say I love to have you back on again in the future as a guest, and maybe talk a little bit more about wrestling.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, Taryn, I want to say thank you so much for coming on live with CDP podcast, and we'll definitely keep in touch with you on social media.
Thank you so much for having me. I had
You're
such a good time.
you're welcome, and any feedback you could give me after, just if you could send me a DM, that would be great. Because any feedback, positive, negative, whatever, I appreciate it. Because that feedback is important in whatever career you're trying to get into.
Yeah, 100%. But I had a really, really good time. And I think you're doing great.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The guest makes a great podcast. I'm just the host, and to me, having great guests makes a podcast even better.
Well, then, you know what? We should probably thank Austin. Can you see him?
Yes, cute, cute. Make sure you give him a treat for me.
That little bastard. Yeah,
Spoil them. They're like our babies, fur
I
babies.
know. I
Yes.
know. I love him.
I'll have to send you a picture of my cat Latte. Latte is
Yeah,
Latte is spoiled rotten. I love dogs too, and I miss having a dog. And eventually, I will get one. But yeah, dogs and cats are like our babies.
I know.
So, all right. Well, I hope you have a great night, and
Thanks, you too.
thank you so much, Taryn. And we'll talk to you soon. And you have a new fan in me as well.
Oh, awesome. And me and you. Wait,
Definitely,
you and me? Anyways, I'm your fan.
definitely. All right. Well, have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Alrighty, thanks.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my podcast today with Taryn. You can check her out on Instagram and Twitter at TFA Wrestling as well. And also, guys, let's see, one second. You can also follow her on Twitter and Instagram, like I mentioned. You can check out nationextremewrestling.com. And also, you can check out facebook.com RCW Wrestling as well. And I'm just going to go over the comments. And my friend Kelsey and Nicole Nelson, great interview. Kelsey, thank you so much. I'm still trying to get better at doing this and appreciate you watching me. And I hope to have you on as a guest again in the future. And we'll talk maybe some Washington football as well. So thank you, Kelsey, for watching as well. And guys, just to let you know, let's see. Live with CDP podcast. The audio version is downloaded to Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn if you prefer to listen to my podcast on audio. And I just want to say thank you to everyone watching this live on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. And thank you to those who watched on Facebook Live and on my Twitter page at Chris D. Palme as well. And guys, you can also check me out. Follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. That's at Live with CDP on TikTok as well. And I'm going to wrap this up very shortly. My next Live with CDP podcast is going to be tomorrow night, Thursday, January 20th at 5 o'clock Eastern. My guest is going to be Nick Rothschild. He's a sports anchor reporter for KMGM Channel 7 in Denver, Colorado. And we're going to talk a little Broncos football, a little Rockies baseball, some Avalanche, and some Denver Nuggets, and his career as a sports anchor and reporter in the Denver, Colorado area. And I'm more anxious to talk about the Denver Broncos with him, what's going on with their ownership, maybe possibly John Elway and Peyton Manning buy the team, and also what they're going to do about their coaching situation. They just fired their head coach a few weeks ago, Vic Fangino, as well. So, and also, guys, just to let you know, besides my next podcast tomorrow at 5 again, you guys can also check out the NFL divisional round playoff games this weekend. Saturday, we got Cincinnati and Tennessee, San Francisco at Green Bay Saturday night. Sunday, we've got the Rams at Tampa Bay. And then Sunday at 6:30, Sunday night, Buffalo at Kansas City. I'm picking the Bengals to win, the Packers to win, the Buccaneers to win, and the Buffalo Bills to upset Kansas City 41-38. I think the over-under will be at least 79 points over. I think there'll be at least 79 points of offense, and I think Buffalo will score 41, and I think Kansas City will put on 38. I don't think either defense is going to stop each other's offense, so we'll see what happens there as well. So again, Bengals, Packers, Buccaneers, and Bills to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Kansas City beats Buffalo, but we'll see what happens. And also, guys, Guelph Storm are home this Friday night to the Greyhounds. Of course, no fans. And then again, 7 o'clock at 7 o'clock Saturday against the London Knights, which I'll be doing for Rogers TV. And then Sunday, 2 o'clock, to hit the road and take on the Knights in London. The Storm lost last night 5-4 in overtime at home to Flint. They were down 4-0. They fought back, tied it up 4-4, and then they lost it with about 29 seconds left in overtime, 5-4. But the Storm have come back and played 2 games after having a month off, and they've got 3 out of 4 points. So you got to look at it that way. Having a month off due to the pandemic and all the shutdowns, postponed games, they've got 1 win and an overtime loss. So we'll see if they can get an important 2 points against Sault Ste. Marie on Sunday as well. And also, guys, just let me know what you think of my new opening intro. Again, I want to say thank you to my friend Robert B for that as well. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it a show, but we'll definitely see you guys again tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern, with Nick Child from Channel 7 News in Denver. And we'll talk some Denver sports and some Denver Bronco football in his career as well. So I hope everybody has a great night. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night at 5 o'clock for another edition of Live with CDP podcast. Thank you for watching or listening to my podcast. See you tomorrow night at 5 o'clock with Nick.